Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sunrise. It is this lovely Monday morning. I'm Chamberlain. So,
indeed, it is quite cool. 27 degrees Celsius here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Good morning and welcome. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf.
Yeah.
Well, sadly, we have some devastating news that came to us over the weekend, and this is over the death of a rising singer. Her name is Nanya Wangini, better known as Naya or Naya Music. I bet a lot of people would have seen her singing on social media by now. One of the renditions that she gave us of this very popular football anthem, sang at football matches, especially for the UEFA Champions League. However, over the weekend, we understand that she suffered a snake bite in her home, and unfortunately, attempts for her to get treatment at two medical facilities were not quite successful, and at the end of the day, she lost her life. Now, there has been controversy as to what exactly could have led to the cause of death. I mean, people said, oh, she drove to one hospital facility. There was no anti-venom available in that particular facility, and she drove to another, and still there wasn't any. But right now, we're also seeing a statement from the Federal Medical Center in Jabi, contradicting that. The Federal Medical Center said that they received her, and that it was clear that Ms. Wangini suffered severe neurotoxic complications from the snake bites. Despite all efforts to stabilize her condition and transfer her to the intensive care unit for further treatment, she experienced a sudden deterioration just before the transfer. Our team of professionals worked diligently to provide CPR and other life-saving measures. However, despite the efforts, they were unable to revive her. They say they stand by the quality of care and dedication of their team. And they also say that the claims of non-availability of anti-snake venom and inadequate response are unfounded and do not reflect the reality of the situation. They also say that they're committed to transparency and integrity in their practice and will continue to pursue excellence in patient care. Well, that is their own statement. But the words of her friends have been that, oh, she was conscious enough to have driven herself to a first medical facility and then a second medical facility. And in the process, she lost her life because this venom, anti-venom, if it was available, perhaps wasn't made quickly accessible. So, Chamberlain, when I saw this particular story, I realized just how fragile life is in Nigeria, because you could be alive 1 minute, hale and hearty, and all you need is just one unexpected incident, especially when it involves healthcare, and lo and behold, you might not survive it. When we talk about, oh, okay, so that's what we're seeing now, the snake on the screen, because we know that, oh dear, I don't know, even the sight of it is very frightening. So we understand a few people went back to her flat to try. I don't know if this is anti-pest control or this is but this is supposed to be, this is the cobra that was discovered in her apartment, and I think that this is some anti-pest agents trying to get rid of it. I don't know why they just won't kill it. It should be seeing the head smashed by now.
They eventually did, but yeah, they smashed it.
Why were they trying to, I mean, what were they holding it for, honestly? Somebody just suffered a snake bite, from that thing. Anyways, but this is where we are. A lot of people started saying, Abuja as a city, do we have pest control? If you see something dangerous in your compound that you could call. I know that they have a lot of private institutions who do that sort of service. But we know that institutionally, I doubt very strongly that we have any agency of government whose job it is to get rid of things like this. And then what is the protocol, for instance? So I remember going on social media shortly after I saw that story, and I started saying a lot of advice. If you get bitten by a snake or a scorpion, this is what you should do. And I was saying that things that I thought I knew when I was young, for instance, tie, if it's on your leg or your arm, somewhere, a limb, for instance, you should be able to tie above that place very tight. They say, oh, don't do that anymore. So I'm like, okay, if there is a new protocol for handling issues like this, then I think that we all should be aware. I'm unclear as to in what circumstance she drove herself to the hospital. Did she try some first aid? Did she know what to do? you know, before going to the hospital? Because those are the critical moments between life and death. And then this debate over whether there was anti-venom or not, we really need to be clear on it, because it will be disgraceful and really, really embarrassing that in this day and age, we'll have to drive around how many hospitals for us to be able to get something as basic as anti-venom or snake bite in a country where snakes are still very much endemic. Generally.
You know, it's very troubling, all of this, and sometimes you just don't know how to proceed with this kind of matter, because it's we see this kind of scenario happen time and again in the country. Look, the statement from the FMC, there are questions about that statement. I mean, yes, you want to extricate the facility from accusations of what? Culpable negligence, whatever it is, and so hence the tone of the statement there. So, I mean, when you see that they stand by the quality of care the team has, and it's unfounded, that they do not reflect reality, that they didn't have look, there are different narratives in terms of what transpired. They said she went to Divine Health Hospital, Trademore Road, Lugbe, and then she got there, they said they didn't have it, so she had to book a ride and then to FMC. So when FMC was releasing their statement, clearly you could see, because they were in a hurry to defend themselves, they lost the context, because there's a sequence of events that people were reacting to. So if you don't get the entire context, you respond out of context. And whatever narrative you were reporting or responding to, thinking that you have it all figured out, there are loopholes in that statement. When they put up all of this, and by the way, look, yeah, anybody could put up a statement and say it's from management, no specific names attached to it. But we also do know that, look, in this case, when they say, yes, we've read the statement, but there are no dosage records, no timelines, no word from regulators in terms of what exactly transpired. We know we have a challenge when it comes to medical facilities and response in this country. We all know that. So coming up with this statement, look, I don't know, it's just neither here nor there. There are bigger questions about healthcare in this country. If anyone's got an emergency, you know what the chances are, whether you survive or not. So that's how troubling it is. That's why you see lots of people just in droves go elsewhere other than this country to get some sort of treatment. And that's why you see people go spiritual, because that's all the help they think they can get. Because they can't get help from the regular facility. I mean, yours truly, thank goodness. If not, I mean, it would have been a sorry tale. Misdiagnosis, there's several challenges in the country. And sometimes you wonder who regulates what, who does what. And it does appear as though this statement that we've heard here may just be the last. What about the facilities you went to where they said they had no antivenom? Who's going to question the regulatory bodies? Or will the regulatory bodies or the council speak up and say, look, there are standards, global standards. You must have certain things in place at all times.
Yeah, even if you do not have antivenom, was any first aid, for instance?
Administered?
Administered?
Usually they won't. They'll just tell you, we can't help you. And in most cases, if you don't pay, they don't answer you.
That's the problem. So, because you know that when it comes to health, when it comes to things like that, there is split seconds between life and death. It's not enough to say, oh, we don't have antivenom. The question is, what have you done? Some people say, oh, use charcoal. Did you have charcoal? Was there access to, because we know that that's something that acts against poison, for instance. Did you just make sure that she had done the basic things that ought to have been done for first aid while you tried to get her transferred to another facility? These are questions that we need to ask ourselves. But, Chemling, it's really so tragic, and it's such a sorry situation. Very unfortunate that we had lost such a wonderful talent. And this is how we lose talents, needlessly. It's so sad to see.
Yeah, another matter of equal concern. This book, titled Living History for Junior Secondary Schools 1, has been introduced into Nigerian schools as a history textbook. Yet somehow, it tells the story of Nigeria while virtually leaving out the Igbo people from it. Let's be clear. History does not forget by accident. People decide what is remembered and what is excluded. So, The first question is obvious. How does a Nigerian history book omit the history of one of Nigeria's major ethnic nationalities, a people central to trade, nationalism, the Civil War, post-war rebuilding, and modern commerce written out as if they never mattered? Or that failure points directly to the Federal Ministry of Education. What exactly is a vetting and approval process? Who reviewed this book? Who approved it for classrooms? Which is why the Minister of Education must be called out. This happened under your watch. Silence here is not neutrality, it is complicity. And we must ask the uncomfortable question, what is the intention at a time of deep national tension? What does this kind of historical erasure teach children, especially Igbo children? That some histories count and others do not? Let us not pretend this is harmless. This is how resentment is planted under the sun. This is unconscionable evil. Quiet, bureaucratic curriculum approved? So what must be done now? Withdraw the book immediately. Set up an independent, inclusive review by credible historians, demand the public explanation from the ministry, and correct the curriculum to reflect Nigeria's full history, not a selective one. And to the Southeast governors, your silence is deafening. You cannot complain of marginalization on Monday and ignore the erasure of your people's history in classrooms on Tuesday. This is not about ethnicity. It's about truth. And we will not move forward by erasing parts of ourselves. Well, we'll go to break, and then when we return in just a moment, there are several matters also making the rounds. Security, of course, political alignments will almost, maybe these days, dominate several things if care is not taken. But just give us a moment, we will be back. So we've got Senator Bala Naala here with us. He is a legal practitioner. I know many may not remember that. But he's a former chairman, Senate Committee on Air Force, so many will remember that much more. And also a former Senate Deputy Majority Leader. Thank you for coming on, and good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, and good morning, viewers.
And so, the APC, the APC, and with all of this gale of defections of governors from one party to the APC, it's this, I mean, I've heard different expressions where some think this is going to give the party a false sense of safety in terms of thinking that we're secure as we go into these elections, because if we have majority of governors on our team, so to speak, we should be able to deliver. But there are others who think that is just a facade, because the reality on ground is that the feelings that the people are going through will actually be a major determinant, a major determining factor as to where the pendulum swings for 2027. You've been observing what's going on. What do you think?
Well, let me start by telling you that I'm a founding member of APC. And I can conveniently say that no party was formed and came with the best intentions for Nigeria better than the APC.
Really?
That I can conveniently say. Now, don't forget that the ruling party then was PDP. And when APC came, we were very, very few members who believed that the trajectory of PDP for the years that they have been ruling has not succeeded in at least giving Nigerians the comfort to say their country is in safe hands. And we came together and said, okay, let us form a very strong opposition and see what we can do. Of course, using Buhari, led Buhari as the torchlight. Fortunately or unfortunately, whether we have succeeded or not, I don't want to say. I would rather leave that to the judgment of Nigerians.
The figures they speak for themselves.
I don't know. But these defections that we are talking about are defections made by people who hold authority in their various states. To a larger extent, that will determine, what they are able to do in their various states will determine the followership to those people into the main party that they have defected to, which is the APC. So it's not in all cases where defection of big wigs into a party will determine its success. No, it's not in all cases. In Nigeria, the issue may be a little bit different. You can conveniently say that, of course, there are failings here and there, we must admit, but at the same time, I was just reading this morning from the e-registration of the APC. Even the local people who you believe are not satisfied with what the government has done, you understand, are equally registering in the APC. But it does not, for any reason, determine that success is assured in the next coming election. The APC has to work seriously and convince the people that whatever they are going through are reasonably necessary for the purpose of positioning the country for a greater future. This is how I read it.
I wanted to take you up on the very first statement you made, which is that you are a founding member of the APC, which translates to the fact, or which translates, I want to believe, to the notion that you're not going anywhere. You're still there, in spite of what is happening within the ADC. I just wanted to say that it doesn't quite add up, because we know that the very first chairman of the APC, Chief Don Odigioyegu, is a founding member of the African Democratic Congress. We've seen founding members of the People's Democratic Party defect as well, you know, to form a new party, the ADC. So what exactly is sacrosanct about being a founding member?
Well, it's a matter of belief. It's a matter of belief. Yes, with due respect, he was a founding member. He even became the chairman of the party. But his reason for defecting to ADC may not necessarily apply to Nanya to justify leaving the party. That I can assure you. If there is, I'm sorry to say, if there is anybody who can say he is dissatisfied with the way the politics of the country is going, I think I will be one.
The country or the party, your party?
Well, the country as a whole, you know. But at the same time, you have formed a party with the best of intentions. So you have not had the opportunity to translate those best intentions into reality, at least to the satisfaction of majority of Nigerians.
People always say...
What makes you think defection from that party to another party will change the issue? I used to have one beautiful saying, which Father Kuka will always say, the more the thing changes, the more they remain the same. I would rather believe dogmatically in the initial intention of my party and remain in it and see what I can do, you know, to change the situation than defect to another party with all its uncertainties.
Okay, well, fair enough. But some people always say, because you always talk about intentions, and I'm sure we've heard that saying, that the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Exactly.
And it does appear that the intentions that the APC has clearly has not exactly translated to El Dorado for Nigerians. And when you look at what they had promised, I mean, the reasons why they had ousted the PDP, when they ousted the PDP, on the issues of security, which was a major issue then, the Boko Haram crisis, is still a major. This morning we're just greeted with news about abductions in Niger State. And then we also see on the economic front as well, Nigerians are battling a heavy onslaught of inflation. You say you are not happy with how things are going. Do you think that's as a result of incompetence on the part of the leadership of your party and the leadership at the helm of affairs in the country?
No, I think incompetence will be a very strong word.
It is, but this is what Nigerians are facing is strong.
That is what...
Insecurity is strong.
More listen, if you listen to me, you won't have problem. You see, we have a political class that has been given one of the best documents, that is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to serve as a framework of governance that has capacity to translate, you know, our intentions, you know, for the generality of Nigerians. But we have an unwilling political class that believes that they can govern off head. You cannot succeed. when the framers of our Constitution decided to sit down and put everything in place in the Constitution, they firmly believe, and I still believe, that they wanted a situation where there will be committed Democrats who will put the spirit of the Constitution into play. And I'm telling you, we will not have been in this problem. The biggest problem we have, and I think this is what Nigerians should interrogate, is that every president that comes, after some time, Nigerians will say, we are not satisfied. But what Nigerians have failed to understand is that, what is the reason? There must be something somewhere that is working against the smooth running of the affairs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And all of us have decided not to look at it. We would rather sit down and say, oh, it's Mr. President, oh, it's Mr. President. In the way our Constitution is made, you cannot justifiably blame one man for whatever failing. It's an issue of collective responsibility. And I'm telling you, go and look at the Constitution. Look at the oath of office each and every elected official has taken before assuming office. And then put it on their face and tell me how many of them have succeeded in keeping to the spirit of that Constitution.
So when you say collective responsibility, let's just be clear, you mean on the part of the generality of leadership?
Leadership and Nigerians too.
Nigerians?
Yes. By extension, that's true. If in your opinion, you believe what will help you in sending somebody to any elective office will be what he is able to give you, to hold, you know, by way of electoral or whatever, then you will not succeed in putting the right people with the measured patriotism to respect your own Constitution that you have given unto them, which is the basis of the rules of engagement between you and them. So this is where the issue is.
Let me understand something. You say initially that you came together, you put in a fine document to set up the ruling party, the APC.
Yeah.
As at the time that happened, 1999 Constitution was still very much the same thing.
Yes.
And it still is.
Yeah.
So what's your point now? Are you saying that when you formed that, you thought that the Constitution was not a problem? How is it a problem now? Or is it with the people that we elected?
Let me be honest with you. Our Constitution is one of the best documents you can find anywhere in the world. Whether you believe me or you don't believe me, that's a different matter. Our major issue is those charged with the responsibility of implementing the letter and spirit of the Constitution. That's where our major problem is. And I'm telling you, just use it as a test. You see, I don't know how convenient it is, you know, to explain to people. Okay, the framers of our Constitution said, okay, we are a multi-religious, multicultural, multi-ethnic society where fear of domination will be the determining factor in any governance. They say, okay, fine. We will not donate executive power to a president. What we will do is to ask every state to produce one minister who will come and form what is called Federal Executive Council and domicile that power with that council. In every Executive Council meeting, there is what is called AOB. So apart from the issue of approving contracts, it's expected, our Constitution expects, that at the end of that meeting, when AOB comes, the minister from Taraba will say, Mr. President, Taraba, where I come from, this is the peculiarity of what people are going through. And this is what I believe can be done. In that same Executive Council meeting, the minister charged with the responsibility of what he is requesting to be done is there. And then the president direct and say, okay, if it has to do with the interior, he say, okay, Minister for Interior, you have heard what Minister for Transport has said, for example. And can we have action taking and then report given to us, you know, in the next Executive Council meeting? So in other words, in recent history, yes, the President Buhari's administration and this current administration have not lived up to the billing. With respect to what the point you're making now. Yes, if it is the true spirit of governance as anticipated by the framers of our Constitution, that can conveniently be said to be correct.
Can we leave out the National Assembly in this matter? Because I do remember when there was a lot of talk about the former president...
in health?
Yeah, and then violating the Federal Character
Commission
in terms of selection.
Yeah.
What kind of impacts did the National Assembly play at the time? Because Ben is that if they had put their foot down, that would have changed.
Okay, let me tell you what the framers of our Constitution wanted for this country. When the power to screen appointees of Mr. President was vested with the Senate, it is to make it easy for 109 people to determine the fate of those people based on what is placed before them. It will have been more difficult if that power had been donated to the House of Representatives. And it was expected, listen to me, it was expected, being that the Senate is composed of 3 senators from each state based on equality of states, that they will be able to critically look at this and advise Mr. President on the federal character or spread of his appointment. Don't forget that both the President and the Senators have sworn to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Don't forget that it is the same Constitution that has made provision that appointments into federal institutions should reflect federal character. I hope you understand. So I don't know how you can blame Mr. President. What Mr. President will do is the nominations come from states. He looks at them, look at the CV, and then say, okay, National Assembly, go and approve. So they go and screen. There is no obligation on the National Assembly to say that if 10 names are sent to the National Assembly, all the 10 names must be approved.
So does that mean that if a wrong thing is sent to the president, he will close his eyes and do the wrong thing?
You said what?
If a wrong name or if there's an imbalance sent to the president, he will ignore it and execute like that?
It's not the responsibility. You see, I don't know. You don't know
how he can point it out.
Yeah.
Can't he?
Yeah. He can point that out. Normally, you have a chart in the presidency that looks at, the appointment spread, normally. And then each time you are making an appointment, you are looking at that chart and trying to balance it. Because it's not something you can do in one day. I want to give you, take for example now, I want to form federal, or I want to form like equivalent of CNN in Nigeria. And I say, Mope has been a very good uncle, and then Chamberlain. And then I put the two of you. That is first appointment. In the next appointment, for example, I will have to look at maybe somebody, maybe from Taraba or from somewhere in the north, just to fulfill the requirement of the Constitution, which I have sworn to uphold, protect, and defend. But if you now say, okay, by appointing Mope and appointing Chamberlain today, you have violated federal character, I don't think that can be the basis for making that kind of assertion. This appointment comes certain, they come, time to time, and then you look at them, and then you are trying to look at the chart to balance. So I'm really in difficulty to understand how, you can just sit down and say, these appointments violate federal character. In any case, there is a Federal Character Commission, which is a creation of our own Constitution, which equally has the responsibility to equally advise Mr. President on all these issues. So one person cannot sit down and govern this country. I'm telling you, if it were possible for the president to do everything alone, the Constitution will have no business, the framers of the Constitution will have no reason whatsoever.
Well, Senator, we know that we remember a former president who did say, look, I have advisors, you can advise me, but I do not have to take your advice.
That is true.
So
that is true.
You saying they can advise doesn't necessarily mean that they are he's mandated to take the advice.
You see, let me tell you why he said that. Those his advisors may not be or may not have access to the kind of information that he has as Mr. President. And they will advise him based on the information that is available to them, which may not necessarily be the same with what he has. And in most cases may even be at variance, because of the position the two of them hold. So you can't say, okay, because you are my advisor and you say I must do this. No, that is not how our constitution anticipates. Our constitution anticipates that these advisors are to raise issues of concern based on their touch with the public. To say, Mr. President, last week I was in my constituency, we had this town hall meeting, and my people raised this issue and that issue and that issue, and I believe that I should bring it to your knowledge, even though I intend to bring it,
okay.
You know.
Well, that's broadly speaking. But with respect to the performance of, probably, I mean, when Magwe highlighted the reasons, the points why you were part of those who put the party together to make life easier for Nigerians.
Yeah.
Given the benefit of hindsight, do you think that has worked?
You want me to be honest with you?
Absolutely.
It has not worked because we had this misfortune. And unfortunately, that has been the trajectory from 1999 to date. You see, in governance, any executive that decides to appoint people who are ambitious will have a lot of problems. Because those people will use that office, 70% of that office, to pursue their ambition, and 30% of that office to do his work. So he might not be able to achieve much. And that is why caution dictates that whenever you want to bring people around you, you must bring people who have no ambition of becoming something. For example, if you bring somebody who has ambition of becoming the governor of his state, all he does is to sit down and look at how do I steal money to go to my state and then pay and then become the governor. So 70% of his time, he is engaged in that process. 30% is what he gives to you just to show at least.
I see that your state is really affected. I mean, because we can see what is currently happening with the. I know you have not mentioned any names, but yes. I mean, some people will say that Kebbi State has been in the news now for this kind of thing. Unpleasant, for this kind of unpleasant situation.
I don't understand.
I know you haven't made any reference, no. and I'm not making any references either. But some people will.
But you know what we're talking about.
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm still living with my mother, so I may not be that high enough to understand what.
So you don't know the man who spends 30% of his time trying to get something to go and become.
I don't know.
Who served in the cabinet in the last administration? Because you were the one who said that. Unfortunately, you have been.
Luckily, those are allegations. So let's leave them at that.
Okay, but you were the one who made reference to people who were ambitious.
And I told you right from the trajectory is right from 1999.
Okay.
Did I tell you that?
No, you didn't say so. Because we're speaking,
you didn't.
Just a moment. Okay. We're speaking more specifically about your party.
Yeah.
And you were saying that unfortunately, you don't seem to have been gifted with people who are 100% with the person whom they're supposed to be working with. That's what it was saying I heard. So when you say that, I'm thinking about from 2015 till about now, people nursing ambitions here and there. But I'm wondering, what is the percentage of that number of people? If we're really to blame the people who are working or people who are nursing ambition, what exactly is the percentage of those number of people versus those who have not, or at least those who have not nursed any ambition that we have seen? And can we, anyway.
Let me be honest with you.
Yes.
I can tell you with precision that in 2015, when late General Buhari came into power, he had more than enough committed Nigerians to turn things around. And I know them. And I know how honest and sincere they were in that movement, to at least, that was why we used the word change. So that Nigeria under PDP, for example, and then Nigeria under APC, Nigerians will definitely see radical changes being made in the way we do things, in so many. Now, as soon as he became president, for whatever reason, those people are experts again in finding their way into governance. They are. How they do it, only God knows. And before Jack Robinson, we found that those who honestly, genuinely fought this war, you know, to put that government and its intention into place, were jettisoned.
Like yourself?
No, me, I became a senator.
So the Senate.
I was in the Senate. So, and I've done my best. You can go and check the records there. But you see, we had people who just came in, and all of a sudden, they studied the late Mr. President. In their wisdom or lack of it, they took advantage of that. And then based on trust, he equally believed that they could do it. And that was
you're talking in terms of appointments now.
Yeah. So in fairness, I mean, the president cannot see people's hearts.
Yeah.
But then we have a national
Only
assembly.
the devil knows what is happening in hell. If a gentleman says he knows, he should be questioned.
Fair enough.
I agree. I don't know what's happening.
Fair enough. But let me take you up on the and I think Shimon already alluded to this. The role of the National Assembly. You have served. You have said, look, I did my best.
Yeah.
You know, the records are there.
Yeah.
But collectively, while individuals can try their best, their individual best for individuals, I mean, for their communities or for their constituencies, collectively, when you look at what Nigerians went through, or some of the revelations we are currently hearing, you know, from the last 8 years of the Buhari administration, a lot is out in the open now. People are wondering, how was there a National Assembly? Was there really a National Assembly to oversight and checkmate the excesses of the executive? And if you say that there was, or if you say that there wasn't, you know, what exactly would you say about the National Assembly today? Because people are already saying, in your time, people said the National Assembly was a rubber stamp. In this time, they're saying it was and a rubber. Anything the president wants, he gets.
Well, let me, I don't know what time you are referring to, but I want to say that I serve in the 8th Senate.
Of course.
Bukola Saraki as Senate President. Can you, in all honesty, say that that assembly has not done its best in checkmating the executive? Can you, in all honesty, say that? Let me tell you what normally happens. These appointees, they know how to get into governance, and they know how to blackmail people. If you remember vividly, when we came in the 8th Senate, there were so many things that were brought from the presidency which you said we are not going to do, because we believed they were not in the overall interest of the country. In the 9th Senate, the Senate President felt the only way to show loyalty, maybe loyalty in quotes, is to try to manage the executive by approving maybe whatever they brought on the floor of the Senate and maybe the House. And then that was when Nigerians started saying we were rubber stamp. And he himself, I think in one of the interviews, answered and said, well, you can call him anything, but he believes that cooperation between the legislature and the executive were necessary for good governance. But I disagree with that position, because cooperation, I don't understand what cooperation, the limit of the definition of cooperation under a democratic setting. But I know that the framers of our Constitution deliberately created the Senate and the House of Representatives to serve as a check to the executive and, of course, to the judiciary. So if, for whatever reason, you decide that you are not going to look at the Constitution, you are not going to look at the responsibility vested upon you by the Constitution, and then the oath of office you have taken as a senator, and you believe that cooperation, I mean your own definition of cooperation, is to say yes to everything that comes from the executive, I don't think you are even being helpful to the executive itself. That's my opinion.
I mean, because you can hear the sort of things that we've heard in recent times.
Even
from the Central Bank of Nigeria, printing of 30 trillion naira. And then we now started seeing that conversation in the 10th Assembly when these revelations came forth. National Assembly members say, I was there. No, I wasn't there. You know.
But the good thing is that I can show you videos of my intervention on the conduct of the Central Bank of Nigeria during our time. On 4 occasions, I can show you on the floor of the Senate. I can show you the video. Unfortunately, each time I raise this matter, instead of government trying to address it, they look the other way. So it is only looking the other way was the best thing at that time for them, so that we can be now be mesmerized with the revelations that are coming after. But everyone who was following knew that things were not right.
Do you think
knew that policies were being made to project personal interest. And I said it on the floor of the Senate. That's why I'm telling you, my conscience is so clear that I sleep very well. Because I have raised these issues.
Do you think that the 10th Assembly is falling into that trap as well?
You see, we have this culture, and I like to keep that culture. I am not in the 10th Assembly. I don't know what information the Senate President has or the Speaker has. I cannot, sit down here and be judgmental. I have passed that stage. I should have enough information, for example, to be able to be judgmental on the conduct of the 10th National Assembly. But I don't know what information they have. I'm not there.
Yeah, but you're an observer.
Yes.
You are a Nigerian.
In the same way you observe, that is the same way I'm observing. And therefore, I share the sentiment of the public in whatever they say, because they too do not have the information that those at the National Assembly have now. And it is only safe for me to align with the public rather than align with the National Assembly.
So let me say what the public is saying. They say there was a rubber stamp. Do you align with that?
I thought I have said something here that has saved me from giving specific answer to that one, Mope.
No, the news have it.
Well, at times I try my best, not to run into troubled waters, because whatever I'm going to say, people are going to look at me as a former leader in the Senate, as a responsible citizen of this country, who should think positively, you understand, rather than negatively.
Yeah, but I mean, in fairness,
yes.
It is okay for you to be able to, if you're not happy with certain things, you can give specific examples. Given, for instance,
Let me tell you, in the whole of what the National Assembly did,
yes,
I can only point to one thing that I'm not happy about.
Which is?
And that is the determination of 2/3 majority by voice vote. That has remained a thorn in my heart. I still feel very, very bad about it, and I'm really, really very angered by that position.
Is this during the 8th Assembly?
No, during the emergency determination in Rivers State. That is the only thing I can point to. But at the same time, I said, I didn't know what informed that decision. But the good thing is that whatever informed that decision, you can conveniently say it is constitutionally wrong.
Okay. So, from the look of things now, as we wind down, when you say the intentions of bringing the party together has not come to fruition, and you cited several reasons, what would the solutions be?
Thank you very much. The solution substantially lies in political class calling themselves to a meeting and asking, can we, in all honesty, say we are on the right trajectory of bringing this country out of its present situation? Can we, in all honesty, say that? If the answer is no, what can we do? You see, any system, I'm sorry to say, any system that makes provision for a civil servant or a public servant to steal 1 billion, that system cannot be said to be a system. Let's be very honest, let's be sincere. And was it day before yesterday, I was telling someone, I said, well, you see, Nigerians will always wake up and say, National Assembly, they are this, they are that, they are this. But my happiness is that from 1999 to date, no member of the National Assembly has been charged with stealing 1 billion. I'm not aware of one.
They're not being charged. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened.
No, but By the number, they at least one. At least from 1999 to date. Abamope. Let's be honest, let's be sincere.
Is that to say that nobody has been
charged? So what it means is that Nigerians should begin to interrogate. Where does the problem lies? I think there are about 4 issues that Nigerians who are yearning for good governance should begin to interrogate. Number 1, why is it that every time a governor leaves a state, and brings in somebody to succeed him, within 1 year, there are how do I put it? Why is it, for example, that we have a system where some people who have neither constitutional nor legal authority will be allowed to be exercising constitutional and legal powers?
You know, the reason why
then the
we're
third
asked...
one, yes.
Okay, give me the third one, then I'll bring in the question.
Then the third one, why is it that from 1999 to date, we have not succeeded in producing one president that Nigerians will sit down and say, our country is now in safe hands? If you interrogate this, then you will begin to see the problems one by one, and then the solutions will equally begin to fall in one by one.
So the reason why they also say that the National Assembly cannot extricate themselves from all of this quagmire is because remember that there was a time in this same country where the people were clamoring for change, alterations in the Electoral Act. The National Assembly stood firmly against that until they went back. I think they must have thought among themselves, how do we ensure this also, equally favors us, before they came in and made that change, which appeared as though they were forced to make that change. That
is not correct.
Okay, that's on the one hand.
Yes.
Then number 2, when you say no member of the assembly has been charged, and then we should perhaps pointing us to the executive arm, whether...
I have not said so.
Yeah, I know, you don't have to say so, but you reply so. So we know what you're saying. So isn't there, and they, because they will tell you, we're operating based on the laws that set up whatever we are found, of which you, the National Assembly, you are the lawmakers. If you find that there are loopholes or lacunas in those places, doesn't it behave on you to say, wait a minute, there must be something that allows them to do this? If it's a law, let us change it.
Thank you very much. Luckily enough, and I'm sure Ribado is alive, he is currently the National Security Advisor. He will tell you the war me and him fought in making sure that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission with all its amendments were put in place. I'm happy he's alive. 2, when I said it's not correct, when you made that allusion, that
they didn't want to make that alteration.
They didn't want to make that alteration. I have been a member of the Committee on Electoral Matters. And I'm happy that though Ekweremadu is not in Nigeria, but he's alive. But I will tell you, we were never forced.
But you are reluctant.
It's not reluctant. You cannot use the word reluctant.
What should we use?
We were simply navigating the troubled waters to ensure that we put that in place.
What was the troubled water? When some senators say, there is no network in my area.
Let me tell you.
They could make calls, they have internet facility.
Exactly. Those who were opposed to those amendments were the ones coming to tell us that they have no network and they cannot transmit results and all that. They were the ones coming to tell us that. And we still said, okay, fine. Where there is no network to transmit results, the next nearest place where you have network to do so should be the point where those results should be taken to. So we knew what we were doing. You see, when you are making law in a multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multilingual, with vested interests coming from different classes of people, you equally have to be very careful. Otherwise, they will make you throw the baby and the what do they call it? You know, I'm not too good with my English, eh?
Baby and the bathwater.
Baby and the bathwater.
All right, we need to wrap up. So tell us, Senator, are you satisfied with the performance of this government?
I don't understand. This is a personal question.
Yes, and it's a personal answer.
Well, the good thing is that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has vested me the right of privacy.
What do you mean, brother?
I have right to my privacy.
You're either happy or not. There's nothing private about this.
So I think I would rather leave that as private.
Okay, we'll take it that you're not.
Exactly,
because
yes.
if you were, you would have told us.
Did you say you take it that?
You've given us your answer already.
I enter a plea of not guilty to that charge.
Senator Baleta,
pleading the fifth. He's pleading his right to silence.
But his silence already spoke volumes. So we already heard it. So thank you for coming on this morning. He's a legal practitioner and now former Senate, he's a former Senate deputy, majority leader, and also former chairman, Senate Committee on Air Force. Are you going back to the Senate?
Who determines that one?
What do you intend to go back?
People now, if you go,
would you like to go back?
So that question should go back to my constituency, not to me.
No, you ask them first now, wouldn't you?
Are you going to contest?
Again, I have right to remain silent and I have right to privacy too.
It means Senator is going to contest. So we know these things politically. I haven't seen this country. We know when they say these things. Just watch. Watch what we say here. You will see what happens. Well, that wraps it up today on the program. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain. So goodbye.
Thank you. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf. Business Morning is on top of the hour.